I think this is an American guy pretending to be Russian. I mean, Sergei Sputnikov. That's like if I changed my name to John Wayne Cheeseburger. I think this guy's desperate for the clicks, but probably has never set foot in the Soviet Union. He doesn't look Russian either.
Well, hello cowboys, this is Comrade Cheeseburger speaking. Welcome to Ushanka Show. And today we're gonna talk some more about sports in the Soviet Union. But first of all, a quick refresher. In the Soviet Union, we had no baseball whatsoever, although we had kinda games similar to baseball called laptop. And also we did not have American football. In my previous video, I talked quite a bit about Soviet ice hockey, and as one of the subscribers mentioned in the comment, I was quite salty about it. So I want to show you a couple of scores so you can see how bad was the situation with total domination of Moscow hockey teams and especially of Central Army hockey team. So the season of 1985-1986. First place, CSKA, Central Army hockey team. Second place, Dynamo, Moscow. Third place, Spartak, Moscow. So all three top places were taken by hockey teams from Moscow. And on the seventh place was another Moscow team, Krylya Sovetov. I mean, picture yourself if you would have four hockey teams in Washington, D.C., capital of the United States, and you have Washington Soldiers, for example, took a first place. Washington Cops took second place. Washington, Liberals took third place. And then Washington Air Force took seventh place. So four big teams in one single city. But what is more impressive and depressing for people like me who lived in Kiev and had our own hockey team is performance of Army hockey team. They won 32 times, had 5 draws, and lost only 3 times. With goals, the same problem. They scored 219 times, and they got 79 times other teams scored with them. So 219 versus 79. This is how powerful was Central Army hockey team. If we look at results of season of 1984-85, once again, Army team took gold. Dynamo Moscow, which the Cops from Moscow, took second place. And it was the only time when my home team, Sokol Kiev, took the third place, took bronze. And once again, CSKA, 31 wins, 6 draws, and only 3 losses. If we look at the season of 86-87, same picture, first place, Red Army team, second place, Dynamo Moskva, once again, Cops from Moscow. Then fourth place, once again, Moscow team. And Red Army scored 223 times, and they won 36 games, 2 draws, and only 2 losses. So that's like total domination and total boredom to watch ice hockey inside of the country. But fortunately, situation was quite different when it came to football, or as here in America they say soccer. Although once again Moscow quite dominated as well in soccer, they actually had a total of 5 soccer teams. A couple of them were in and out of Premium League, but we had Spartak Moskva, which was a very powerful team, Dynamo Moskva, another powerful team, then Red Army, CSKA Moskva, Lokomotiv Moskva, and Torpedo Moskva. So 5 teams in a single city. But this time Kiev had Dynamo Kiev, which was very, very strong team, soccer team. It was founded in 1927, and actually it's the most titled soccer team in the Soviet Union. We became the champions of the Soviet Union 13 times. Second place is Spartak Moskva, 12 times. And behind them, Dynamo Moskva, 11 times. So I'm very proud. I didn't know that fact, but yeah, we were the most titled soccer team in the Soviet Union. Dynamo Kiev. Dynamo Kiev, champion. What I'm gonna say next probably gonna sound quite strange for a lot of you guys, but I have to say thank you for the successes of my home team to the Communist Party of Ukraine. Yes, you heard me right. John Wayne Cheeseburger just said, thank you very much, Communist Party of Ukraine. So let me introduce you to Vladimir Sherbitsky, who was a party boss in Ukraine. He was the first secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Ukraine from 1972 till 1989. So that's almost, 20 years he managed Ukraine. So when you're first secretary of Communist Party of Ukraine, you're the guy who runs the whole republic. One of the reasons why Sherbitsky managed to stay at power for so long is that he was one of the favorites of Comrade Leonid Brezhnev. And actually there were some rumors and talks that Brezhnev considered Sherbitsky as his replacement. But also Vladimir Sherbitsky became, I would say, ill-famous for caved in to Gorbachev in 1986 when Gorbachev forced him to have a parade in Kiev on May 1st, 1986, several days after Chernobyl power plant exploded and when the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, was really polluted with radioactive fallout materials. And Vladimir Sherbitsky was also a huge soccer fan, so he gave all support that needed and probably well above and beyond to Dynamo Kiev. Money-wise and anything else that they needed, he provided for his favorite team. And I already mentioned earlier that Dynamo Kiev meant that it's a team that belongs to militia. I'll stop saying militia so you guys won't get confused. In Soviet Union, excuse me, we called cops militia, so militia. So Dynamo means that's the militia sport team. When I talked about hockey, I mentioned that a lot of good players were drafted literally. Like you turn 18, 19 and army team in Moscow draft you into army and take to their team. So that's how we lost all the good players, not only Ukraine, but other republics, other cities. So what they did for soccer, since we had Dynamo, so we had militia team, any player that was good in Ukraine, they drafted him into cops. So they protected our players from being stolen to Moscow by drafting them to Kiev. So Dynamo Kiev kind of like took all the good players from Ukraine and it kept the team well. And of course I have to mention Valery Lobanovsky, who was Dynamo Kiev coach. He was a great coach. He was a great football soccer player before, then he became a coach. And actually under his lead, Soviet soccer team took a second place in a championship in Europe in 1988, I believe. So Lobanovsky was also one of the reasons why Dynamo Kiev was so good. Soviet soccer also had a huge problem, especially in 70s and early 80s, with договорные матчи, that's how we call fixed games, when the score agreed upon before the game, and it could be, or, team coaches agree, for example, like, hey, you need to let us win, otherwise, team from Moscow will become a champion, or like if we have a draw, then we won't get kicked out of Premium League and stuff like that. Another popular way to fix the game was to bribe a referee. That happened quite often too. There's actually cases when angry players were beating up referees for dragging the game longer than it's supposed to be so other team can score, or given penalties for nothing. So we had that issue too. Sometimes even communist leaders could get involved. For example, we had a quite interesting situation in 1967 with the team from Leningrad, now it's St. Petersburg, called Zenit. It's kind of interesting that Leningrad was the second biggest city in the Soviet Union, so Moscow, then Leningrad, then Kiev, but their soccer team Zenit wasn't doing that great. They became the champions of the Soviet Union only once, in 1984. But in 1967, they played so bad that they were supposed to be kicked out from Premium League, Vysshaya Liga, into First League. Fortunately for Zenit soccer team, it happened that bad season happened in 1967. Here's my question. Let's check your Soviet knowledge. Why 1967 was so important for the Soviet Union and especially for the Communist Party of the Soviet Union? And the correct answer is 1967. It's 50 years of October Revolution. So the revolution happened in 1917 in Leningrad. So there was huge celebration, and Communist Party leaders decided to look kind of bad if we were going to kick out of Premium League the team from the city where the revolution happened right on the 50th anniversary. So they decided to keep the team in the Premium League just because of that, because of the 50th anniversary of October Revolution. We also had a very tragic event in August of 1979 when two passenger jets Tu-134 Alpha collided in the skies above Ukraine, and 178 people died. Among them were 17 players from the soccer team from Tashkent, Uzbekistan. The team was called Pakhtakor, so you basically literally had the whole team wiped out in that air crash. And also there was a decision made to keep the team in the Premium League. So they basically, every soccer team in the Soviet Union donated players to rebuild Pakhtakor, and they kept that team in the Premium League. Very sad event. And also I want to add that because of the Olympics in 1980, which the United States boycotted because of Afghanistan war, Kiev got very beautiful soccer stadium called Olympiyskiy. And so that was a nice bonus from Olympics of 1980 that we got really nice stadium here in Kiev. Okay, comrades, I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe learned something new. Once again, I want to say thank you so much to all my Patreon supporters. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for your support. I may record another video about sports in Soviet Union. There's a couple interesting details that I would like to share about our fans. They're quite different from like American sports fans, so that's a good topic to talk about it. But right now we'll be finishing, so thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye. Hey, by the way, cool merch for cool comrades is available at the Ushanka store at teespring.com. Just a friendly reminder that my book American Diaries is available on amazon.com, or shoot me an email if you would like to have a signed copy. Thank you. And if you love my channel and would like to show your support, please click on the link below this video and become the patron of the Ushanka Show. For as little as $1, you can help us grow and create the new, interesting videos about the life in Soviet